After big, dramatic, sci-fi action hit after hit after hit, Nolan is finally returning back to form with a biopic on Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, the brand new Christopher Nolan film about J. Robert Oppenheimer, or Oppie, the man who created the atomic bomb, the father of the atomic bomb of the nuclear weapon. So, this is a 3-hour long biopic of one of the great American scientists, one of the great American brains, and his journey from his studies of quantum physics overseas, coming back to America, becoming a professor, getting the lead job to run the Manhattan Project, and finally the creation and deployment of the first atomic bomb. For starters, I want to talk about the pacing of this movie, because yes, it is 3 hours long, and I feel that not only me but some others may be a little bit scared off by that, especially going to a theater and sitting down without a pause button, or, you know, having time to get up and walk around and really take in the movie. And for Nolan, that is something you have to do, is take in his films. He can take these sometimes confusing already topics, but these sometimes smaller scale topics like the life of a man, and he just loves to make them more confusing and add on these big words and these big topics and these big discussions to make these movies just bigger, larger than life. And so for the pacing, the movie does not feel 3 hours. Does it feel like a long film? Yeah, I'd say 2 to 2.5 maybe, but you know that a movie is paced well if you don't feel its long runtime. If a movie is 3 hours and it feels like 4, that's not a well-made film, because you're kind of dreading watching, you're dreading getting through it, you're dreading it. But with Oppenheimer, the whole time you want more. You want to learn more about this guy's life. You want to learn more about the atomic bomb. You want to learn more about the Manhattan Project. You want to learn more about what's happening in our country and in this world around that time. So for that, the pacing is excellent. The next thing I want to get into is the outstanding cast that we have here. There are cameos, I mean, I don't want to call them cameos, but there's star cameos in this film where an actor will pop up for 5 minutes here, or 10 seconds here, or 10 minutes here, and you know who they are, and you're just like, wow, another star, wow, another star, constantly popping up in this film. You have Freddie Mercury himself showing up for like 5 minutes in the beginning, and then bam, huge role for him at the end. You have, I'm sorry for the actor, I never remember his name, but he reminds me of Chandler from The Friends. You have him in this movie for quite a big role, and he does an excellent job. You have Emily Blunt. You have Robert Downey Jr., who a lot of people who I saw the movie with didn't even realize it was RDJ. After the film, they look at me and they go, "Was that RDJ Iron Man?" And I go, "Yeah, it was." Like, they do an outstanding job with his makeup. He does an outstanding job in the role. You don't even realize that he's RDJ. The difference from that character to his Iron Man character to his characters in the 80s is outstanding. I've never seen RDJ in a role like that, and he killed it. Cillian Murphy, outstanding in the lead role. Matt Damon, very good in his role. And getting into this cast and all the great performances, I think Cillian Murphy will be in the running for Best Actor at the Oscars next year. I think Emily Blunt will be in the running for Best Supporting Actress. And I think RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., will be in the hunt for Best Supporting Actor. And another one that a lot of people aren't really talking about, and I don't know why, because in my opinion this is one of his best performances, and this guy has had a lot of great performances in his career, is Matt Damon. I think Matt Damon should be in the running for a Best Supporting Actor here. He did a great job in this role. Every time he was on screen, he brought more life to this movie. He was one of my favorite characters, and you love to cheer for him, and you love just the character that he is and the arc that he has in this movie, from not really trusting Oppenheimer but bring him along, and then at the end he truly respects Oppenheimer and he's on his side and he wants the best for Oppenheimer, and I think that's great. So the whole different parts of this movie, you first start off, like I said, with the early years of Oppenheimer's life, And we don't stick around there for too long, and I think that's a good thing because, let's be honest, that's not what we're here for. That's not the most interesting part of this movie. We're here for the Manhattan Project. We're here for what comes after the Manhattan Project. That's what people are here to see an Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan biopic for. So, that part was interesting to me, but like I said, thank God we didn't stick around there for too long. Then we get into the actual part of his later life where he becomes this school professor and he is recruited by Matt Damon to lead the Manhattan Project, and you bring in all these other scientists who are some great characters. You have one of the Safdie brothers. He was outstanding in this film as well. And this part is very interesting. I thought all the times that they were in Los Alamos and that they were talking about the Manhattan Project and they were working on it was so captivating. I couldn't look away from the screen. I wanted to hear everything they said. There's not really a lot of action in this movie. Actually, no action at all besides the bomb going off, if you want to say that's action. But just the dialogue in this film is so captivating. It's really great dialogue. And to be able to pull you in with just people sitting down and talking, it's a great skill to have as a director. I think he did a fantastic job with that. So, the Manhattan Project scenes were very captivating, very entertaining. There was a lot of court drama in this movie, a lot of scenes where lawyers were sitting down talking to Oppenheimer or talking to RDJ's character, talking to other people. And during the Manhattan Project scenes, that kind of got a little bit to me because I wanted to see more of the Manhattan Project and more of the atomic bomb and more of what was going on there. After the bomb does go off and we get to the third act of this film, the court stuff is entertaining to me because that's where we are now. That's the part that we're focusing on. But when we're focusing on the Manhattan Project, I just want to stay there because that part of the film was so captivating. Getting into the whole experience of this, I know Christopher Nolan makes these movies for the IMAX. He makes these movies for the 70mm screens. And thankfully, I was going to see it in 70mm on Tuesday. I talked about this in my Barbie review and my short. But the theater lost power. They refunded my ticket. There was no new screening for it. I lost out on that 70mm experience, which is sad. But thankfully, I was able to see it on Tuesday, still in IMAX, still with that Dolby sound. And wow, it was crazy. The IMAX visuals, there's a lot of visuals of space and the stars. Those are beautiful. The IMAX visuals of the bomb going off being all practical effects and no CGI was insane. It was crazy to watch that. And when the bomb goes off or people are yelling or you hear the sound of the bomb after it actually goes off, because you know sound travels slower, your seat is rocking, the theater is rocking, you can hear the walls almost moving from the speakers. It's crazy. So if you can, check this out in IMAX. It's a hell of a great experience in there. I haven't seen it in a regular theater. I'm sure that it's still great because it is a good movie. But IMAX is the way to see this film. Nolan wants you to watch it that way, and I think he really made it for that experience. Into the story of this film, it was very captivating. Like I said, there were some parts where I could have done with less time there. Does this movie have to be 3 hours? I don't think so. I think if you cut it back to 2.5, it still does the same job. It had a great ending. It told a great story. I know more about Oppenheimer than I ever thought I would have. It's cool to see this whole creation of the atomic bomb, this world-destroying weapon that we currently have that is a big hot topic on, you know, if countries should have them. It's cool to see the origin of that and where this all came from. But there's just certain scenes, a lot of court drama scenes, a lot of scenes about his personal life where you feel they could cut back a little bit. I'm not saying a lot, but maybe to 230, 245 for this film. Overall, though, that might be my only complaint. Acting is outstanding. The script is outstanding. The direction is outstanding. I love that this movie was all practical because I think CGI doesn't live. It doesn't really last. If you make a CGI movie in 10 years when CGI is higher quality or has transitioned to something else, that movie is going to look really, really dated. So with the practical effects, this movie can live on forever because practical effects, it's real life things, those aren't going to change that much. With that being said, I think that my overall score for this movie would be a 4.25 out of 5. It's really good. Almost a great film. I just can't put it on that great tier as some of the other Nolan films like Memento or Prestige or Interstellar. It doesn't quite reach that level for me. But for a biopic, it really holds your attention and it's really entertaining, because a lot of biopics can be quite boring. So props to Nolan for that. You know that if he's going to take on a type of film, he will do the best that he can. As for adding it to my collection, 100% yes. Like I said, it's a really good to great film. All Nolan films I want in here. I want to rewatch this one a couple times to fully understand the story. With Nolan films, it is a bit convoluted. It can be a bit hard to understand what is exactly happening in these courtroom scenes, or why exactly Oppenheimer is trying to be taken down, or who is taking him down. And when you get those little reveals, sometimes it doesn't pay off because you're trying to focus on so many things happening in the story that you don't even realize what's happening. So I do think this movie needs a couple more rewatches. With that happening, the score will probably go up because it's a great made film. But yeah, I do recommend you checking this out. Hopefully in theaters, hopefully in IMAX. It is a Christopher Nolan great film. Please check it out. Thank you all so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this review and want to see more movie reviews, movie rankings, movie content, collection stuff, please hit that like button here and hit that subscribe button to be notified for those future videos. Thank you so much, and have a great day.